Here everybody, this is GGB co-host Puppers, and today we're going to be exploring the Dolphins at Bills matchup. Actually, an insanely interesting matchup if you watch it right. So, it honestly depends on what happens in the Steelers-Browns games. The coach has got to be watching that score. If the Browns start blowing out the Steelers, you just need to rest your players immediately. Why take the risk? There's absolutely no reason why you should take a risk of one of your players getting hurt. Absolutely none. But on that note, let's explore who is hurt for the Dolphins in this ever-changing lineup of the Miami Dolphins. So, if you didn't know, there was some late-game heroics from Fitzpatrick against the Raiders. Absolutely insane. He was having his head taken off. And with that win, they went from out of the playoff picture, like not completely out, but like where the Colts are right now, to the 5 seed. If they win this game, they are the 5 seed, and they're going to be playing the Titans. So both teams have something serious to play for. The Bills are playing for that 2 seed. Now, the 2 seed's really nice because you might end up playing a team like the Browns or the other team that's going to make the playoffs, the Ravens. I do not, honestly, weirdly enough, I think the 5 seed is a team that's least scary, the Dolphins. I'd much rather play the Dolphins right now than the Ravens or the Browns. Although the Browns are weird. They're a weird team. Like, I don't think they're great. I think I would rather play the Browns right now than the way the Ravens are playing. The way the Ravens are playing is absolutely insane. They're off the charts. They're playing amazing football right now. But I think it's really interesting. I think the Bills might have nothing to play for here. And I feel like if that happens, then this is going to be an easy walk-away win for the Dolphins. If it doesn't, Tua really needs to carry his game. See, there's 2 different scenarios that I think could play out. I could see, weirdly enough, I think Sean McDermott's smart in this. They see the score and they're like, oh, we'll just keep our starters out there. I don't feel like that's going to happen. But the Dolphins desperately need this win. Like, if you don't get this win, you need some serious help. And it's bad. You do not want to lose this game because, honestly, the Bengals are not going to help you. The Steelers are not going to help you. The Jaguars are not going to help you. These are teams that are just simply not going to help you win this game. I mean, help you stay in the playoffs if you don't win this game. This is a must-win game for Miami. It's interesting. Myles Gaskin looked off the charts insane. He was insane. I'm really interested to see how they use the running back room moving forward because they have 5 different ones that they should use in different scenarios. Obviously, Salvin Ahmed should be their power back, although they desperately need one of those. If I'm in the draft and I see a power back later in the rounds, I'm drafting a power back just so I can simply have one on my team because you don't have one right now. And as much as I love Myles Gaskin, who's been playing off the charts, amazing football, he is not a power football player. And then you look at Salvin Ahmed, also not a huge man, also not a power runner, which is why Jordan Howard was on the team. Why I was very confuzzled by his cut, because he was the only one that could seem to generate any sort of push near the goal line. Kind of need a guy that can push near the goal line to get in the end zone. Like, Myles Gaskin's not going to do it. A small guy. Salvin Ahmed, not going to... He's okay at doing it, but not as good as Jordan Howard. Yeah, and then you have guys like Patrick Laird, DeAndre Washington, guys that you utilize in the passing game and not in the run game. And then Matt Breida, also a speed back. Like, Jordan Howard was kind of a necessary tool. He was not a great football player when he was with the Dolphins, but also kind of a necessary one. He was kind of a player that you needed. It was kind of necessary to have him on your team, and I don't understand why they cut him, but there isn't that many injuries. I know I say that. It's not looking great for Miami wide receiver-wise, but other than that, you seem to be good. Mike Gesicki's back. You have all 5 of your running backs healthy, which has been a problem all year with your running backs. It's the Saints wide receivers. I mean, if not, it's been pretty slim. Slim pickings. I remember you played the Chiefs, and you had no Matt Breida, no Salvin Ahmed, and no and no Myles Gaskin, and it was hell. It was hell on earth. But I think Devontae Parker might come back from this game. I honestly feel like him, as somewhat of a veteran, knows how necessary it is to have a good wide receiver to go to, because Tua right now is struggling with no good wide receivers. And honestly, what Tua needs to do is you need to... I was telling this to my dad during the game, and honestly, I kind of predicted the future. But when Tua was struggling, I'm like, Tua, Jakeem Grant's down, and he's not going to play in this game either. Preston Williams is down. You don't have Devontae Parker. Your wide receivers, as much as you'd like to throw to them, is not the players that you want to have. They're not the playmakers, okay? This is not the players that you want to have the ball in your hands. Like, if, for instance, if you're the Dolphins and you have everyone healthy, who do you want to have the ball at the end of the game? Do you want Devontae Parker? Yes. Do you want Preston Williams? I would trust Preston Williams. Do you trust Jakeem Grant? Yes. But after that, do you really trust players like Mac Hollins, although he made a fantastic catch down the sideline? Do you trust him to win the game? Do you trust Lynn Bowden Jr., who's transitioning rather well, but still not a number one receiver quite yet? Antonio Callaway, Isaiah Ford. Do you trust these guys? Because I don't. What you have to do in that instance, if you're Tua, is get it to your playmakers. And right now, at that moment, it's not your wide receivers. It is Mike Gesicki, your tight end. It is Myles Gaskin in the passing game. Any of your tight ends. Adam Sheen, Durham Smythe. Get it to your tight ends and get it to your running backs. Because Laird can make plays in the backfield. DeAndre Washington can make plays in the backfield. Myles Gaskin, as you saw, was electric. It's a very important... a lot of players don't realize this. A lot of them focus just on getting it to your wide receivers. You have to think, who is the most dynamic playmaker around you? Which is why, as you know, Drew Brees is smart. He's a smart quarterback. And I know I love Drew, but it's a learning step for all young quarterbacks. You notice this, all the Saints receivers are down this year. No Michael Thomas, no Deontay Harris, no Traquan Smith. It's really all new guys that Drew has never really played with ever any meaningful snaps before this year, other than Austin Carr is the only really wide receiver he's ever taken any significant snaps with. You know what he does? I mean, he goes to Emmanuel Sanders, but you know who he really leans on? You go to Kamara in the passing game, you go to Jared Cook in the passing game. He leans on his running backs and tight ends to help him through this time. Now, it goes to Emmanuel Sanders quite a bit, but also Emmanuel Sanders is better, and you kind of can trust him to make those plays. But he really targets Jared Cook. He targets Alvin Kamara, because those are the two guys he trusts in clutch scenarios. Tua's really got to learn that. Devontae Parker's back. Obviously, throw it to Devontae Parker. He can make some plays. I'm honestly interested to see, come playoff time, how they utilize Lynn Bowden Jr. and Malcolm Perry in the play game, because I believe you can do some. I mean, they've already done some trick plays with Lynn Bowden Jr. You can do some trick plays with Malcolm Perry, I believe. It's going to be interesting. I think Antonio Callaway, if they have everyone healthy, they're going to be a tough team to beat on offense, because Antonio Callaway is also a very solid receiver. Mac Hollins, I'm lower on him than a lot of other people are, and especially the Dolphins staff. Honestly, I would love to see Lynn Bowden Jr. get more snaps than that guy, because I think he has way more higher of a ceiling than Mac Hollins does. I'm also interested to see Malcolm Perry get more used to this offense. Defense is obviously amazing. I don't really have any complaints, other than I'm a little bit worried about the Landon Roberts injury. That really kind of hurt them. But they have a pretty solid linebacker core. Andrew Van Ginkel can fill in. Kyle Van Noy's pretty great. Shaq Lawson, Jerome Baker. They have a solid linebacker room. No need to worry. I'm worried about the pass rush a little bit come playoff time, because really relying on Emmanuel Ogbah to get your pass rush is not a great thing. Obviously, you should like to get some pass rushers in the draft, although, honestly, if they could get in the first round, although right now, if the draft works out, if the Texans don't win another game, they could, and it's honestly get Penei Sewell. Penny Sewell, I honestly don't know how to pronounce this game, but he is such a great guard for Oregon, and honestly, that offensive line will be so young. And honestly, this team is a young team, other than the defense. Defense is experience. I love that about the defense. You look at the linebackers, Kyle Van Noy, Landon Roberts before he got hurt, Shaq Lawson, Jerome Baker. These are all not young players. These are players that are experienced and can lead this team to, I think, a very impressive season. Anyways, I think the Dolphins are going to pull off the upset here, mainly because I'm betting on the fact that the Bills are not going to have anything to play for after the second half. Just take out all their starters and it's going to be fine.